Yes, hot-wired. Right, I'm going to tell you two things. I'll talk about two things, my Parkinson's story, interwoven with events in the Parkinson's world. Because most of you, if not all of you, know nothing about these events. So let me start with an event that happened in 1993, 23 years ago. If any of you don't understand my peculiar English, just stick your hand up and I'll try and translate it into American English. In 1993, 23 years ago, in a hospital in England, in Bristol, 6 Parkinson patients went into a study or an investigation into the testing of something called GDNF. They each had a hole drilled in the top of their head, and a catheter that long was put into that hole, pushed right down to the bottom here, to the substantia nigra, and it was connected with a tube underneath the skin, all the way down here, to underneath the rib cage. And there they put in a container, a battery, and a pump. And into this container, they put a natural protein called GDNF, glial-derived neurotrophic factor. Now, this glial-derived neurotrophic factor is produced in your brain in the exact area which is affected by Parkinson's disease. In fact, the glial cells produce dopamine, and it is the shortage of dopamine that causes your Parkinson's disease. So they put this glial-derived neurotrophic factor. Now, neurotrophic means nerve repair or neuron repair. So you each have your own repair kit in your brain. Did you know that? I'm not joking. It is very serious. You have all had a repair kit in your brain since you were born. Have you, any of you ever heard of the term growth factor? Okay. Growth factor is something that every single cell in your body produces. And it's produced to help repair any damage to that particular cell or that group of cells. So when you cut your hand or your arm or anything, it gets a scab on it, and these growth factors get to work and they rebuild new skin in that area. So when the scab falls off, you've got your skin back, you don't leak anymore, and you carry on living. Am I right? Now, the same thing happens with every cell in your body, including the cells that are damaged by Parkinson's. My phone is telling me that I should be somewhere else. Don't go. I don't intend going anywhere at the moment. Right. So they put some GDNF, artificial GDNF, manufactured by Amgen in America, and they put it into this container, and the pumps it into the brain at a fixed rate per day. After, I think it was 6 months, every one of those patients got better. Some of them almost 100% better. And they were stage 4 patients when they got started this. Stage 4 is one stage before you are bedridden. So they're fairly far advanced. Did any of you ever hear about this experiment?
No.
Okay. I wonder why. I wonder why. My Parkinson's started back in 1963. In 1963, I found that I could not throw a ball properly. Now, would any of you go to a doctor if you found that you couldn't throw a ball suddenly? I mean, I was 29 years of age, and I hadn't thrown a ball since I was about 15 years of age. So it didn't surprise me that I couldn't throw the ball. I couldn't let go of it. Threw it, and as my wrist went through like that, I didn't let go, so the ball went over here somewhere. In fact, it hurt somebody. Right. Yes, whoops. So in 1963 that was. In 1968, I no longer was able to write properly. How many of you can't write? Are you a doctor? I thought maybe all doctors have Parkinson's disease, because I've never met one that can write yet. So I stopped being able to write when the company that I owned, I used to do the selling, and every night I'd come home would come back with all the orders that I got, all 2 of them, and I had to make out work tickets so that they could produce this in the factory. And this particular day, I got the biggest job I'd ever got from a building society, and somehow with my excitement, I was writing less better than I normally did. And the next day, when they produced it in the factory, or the following days, they couldn't read it properly, but they thought they could, which is unfortunate, because it was all wrong. The size they produced was wrong, and the color they produced it in was also wrong. So we had to do it again, and it was our biggest job, and it nearly bankrupted us. That's how serious writing can be. So during that period also, I started with depression, and I started with constipation and a few other things. And over the next 29 years, I got more and more symptoms, Parkinson's symptoms. In 1992, eventually when I was walking like this, okay, which one or two of you may do, my doctor looked at me, because he didn't see me very often, and he said, I think you'd better go and see a physician. Who I went to see, and he said, I think you'd better go and see a neurologist, whom I went to see, and he smiled when I walked in the door, and he said, you've got Parkinson's. What good news. I mean, gee, that makes your day, doesn't it? And he immediately proceeds to tell you it's neurodegenerative, it never gets better, there's no cure, and eventually you get so rigid that you can't move. What a gift. Right. Now, all of you have been through this, haven't you? And all of you have been told there's no hope. You've just got to get used to it and get on with your life. Am I right? Yeah. Okay. I got on with my life, but not in the way that he expected. Way back in 1960, I better stand here so that these people can see my face. Maybe you don't want to see my face. In 1960, when I got married to my late wife, both of us took part in a musical show on stage, and I got the lead part, and I had to act and sing, of course, but I didn't know that I had to dance. And at the first rehearsal, this beautiful young lady came to me, blonde. I don't have a weakness for blondes, but she was very attractive. So she came and she said, I want you to pick me up. I said, oh, where are we going? So she says, no, we're not going anywhere. I want you to pick me up. So because my wife was in the chorus, and because we'd just got married, and she was rather a jealous person, I picked this lady up like this. But of course, that didn't do my back any good, and it went like that, and everybody heard it. And for the next 17 years, until I had the disc finally removed, I had sciatic pains and so forth, which can be very painful, and I had to live with that. But every 6 months I had to go from Kimberley in South Africa up to Johannesburg, which is 300 miles, to see a neurologist, because we didn't have a neurologist in Kimberley. And he got tired of me coming, and one day he said to me in '68, you go and see a chiropractor and see what he can do to help you. Now, a chiropractor in those days was a dirty word in the medical profession. So it had to be quite serious for him to, in actual fact, suggest that I go and see one. Anyway, I went to see this guy, and he told me what to do to strengthen my core muscles. Now, what's that got to do with Parkinson's? Anyway, I went to the gym in Kimberley, and I learned how to strengthen my core muscles, and from then onwards, I went to the gym every day for 1 hour. It was that serious. I think you'll all understand, if you can't walk, and then just to do some exercise and be able to walk and not have that pain is a very serious thing. So in 1992, 29 years later, 24 years later, I was diagnosed with Parkinson's. And at that time, I started a new business in 1970, and that business grew very fast and very big. And at that time, I was employing 1,600 people. So it was quite a large company. And I couldn't talk properly, I couldn't walk, I couldn't verbalize, I can't think of words, and I was in a bit of a mess. And I had already appointed somebody to take my place, so I decided to retire on that day. And I also decided to go to the gym for 90 minutes a day instead of 60 minutes. So I started 6 days a week. I started going in 1992 for 90 minutes a day. And do you know what? For the next 2 years, I got worse quicker. I had noticed over the previous 29 years that this pile of weight was getting smaller, slowly smaller and smaller. And the setting on the machines was going lower and lower. But it started going smaller and smaller like that. Every second month, take another weight off. Every second month, switch it down another peg for the treadmill and the cycling and so forth. So in 1994, I made the unilateral decision to stop going to the gym. I was getting up at 5:30 for an hour and a half doing all this exercise, and I'm getting worse quicker. Would any of you go along with that? Doesn't make sense, does it? So I gave up the gym. Now my dear wife had been going to an organization called Walk for Life, Run, Walk for Life. And she'd been going to that for between 2 and 3 years. And she had lost 14 kilograms in weight without dieting. She had come off her blood pressure pills entirely, and she had come off her antidepressant pills entirely. What I don't understand is, why would a woman married to a man like me become depressed? Doesn't make sense, does it? No. I thought so anyway. So she got very upset because she knew how important going to the gym was for me, for my back. And she didn't want me to go backwards on that one and have the Parkinson's as well. And we discussed this in an argumentative way for the next 3 months. And eventually I couldn't take the nagging anymore. I couldn't see why 90 minutes at the gym, not 90, 9 hours at the gym per week was not better than walking 3 days a week. That's 3 hours a week. Would you go along with that? 9 hours is against 3 hours. One should be better than the other one. She says, I don't know, but it works. So just to stop the nagging, I joined Walk for Life just to show her that she was wrong, which would have been the first time. So guess what? After 4 months of doing fast walking, my condition had improved so much that I couldn't believe it. When I joined Walk for Life, I was able to walk 1 kilometer in over 10.5 minutes. Now that's about 16 or 17 minutes for a mile, which is not very fast. And right, okay. So after 4 months, I had it down to less than 9 minutes. Now that's over 20% improvement. Now I had been watching these weights getting smaller, and the pile of weights getting smaller and smaller for the last 20 years. Now all of a sudden, I'm doing something that got better. And I say to everybody, I saw the light at the end of the tunnel. Now if somebody comes and tells you something, which hopefully I'm telling you today, that you can do something about your Parkinson's, and I mean today you would never know that I have Parkinson's, would you? But I do. But it's at such a low level that you won't notice it. But going to a neurologist, he can give a test on all the levels of Parkinson's, and he will know that I've still got Parkinson's. So this is now in 1994. Also in 1994, my neurologist, I went into my annual meeting with him, he said to me, I've just seen a representative from some drug company. They've got a new drug that is supposedly able to slow down the progression of Parkinson's. Can you all hear me? Slow down the progression of Parkinson's. Are you prepared to give it a go? And I stuck my hand up and I said, count me in. So he took me off the the Cinemit and the Symmetrol that I'd been on for 2 years, and he put me onto just this drug, only on its own. If you're going to test a drug, you have to test it on its own. Otherwise, you don't know if it's this one or that one. So for the next 8 years, I only took a drug called Elderpril. There's another one today called Azilec, which is the same type of drug. Now, what this drug does is to let you get better use out of the dopamine that you've already got in your brain. And the way it does this, your brain has a rule, something that it cannot disobey, and that is, or not just the brain, the whole body. Any chemical that you manufacture, and you manufacture quite a few hundred chemicals, if not 1,000 chemicals in your body every day. Can you imagine building up sex hormones? Because we all understand sex hormones. Good morning. Right. If you had sex hormones just building up and nothing happens, you're going to go crazy, aren't you? Can you imagine endorphins? Endorphins, you know, this, when you suddenly get a fright, all of a sudden you're hit with this, what is it? Sorry. Adrenaline, yes. You're hit with this shot of adrenaline and you go like that. Imagine that every hour or every second hour, because you've got so much, it has to hit you somewhere. So the body has this rule that you have to get rid of everything that the body produces. If you haven't used it within a certain time, in other words, everything has a shelf life, the body has to get rid of it, together with any dead body cells. It's called apoptosis. Now, why would you get rid of dopamine cells, dopamine in your body, if you haven't got enough dopamine? Does that make sense? So this MAOB inhibitor, or these MAOB inhibitors, inhibit the breakdown of dopamine in the body, which lets you keep the dopamine that you've already got. Because at night time you're producing dopamine, you're not using it, I assume. And by the morning, it's already been tossed out because we don't need it, because you haven't used it. So we get to keep the dopamine we've already got. Now, I had been on that for 8 years. What it replaces was something called levodopa medication. Now, dopamine itself we can make, but it won't get into the brain. It does not pass the blood-brain barrier. But this substance, levodopa, does. And when it gets into the brain turns it into dopamine. But it has serious side effects. I'm sure a lot of you are on Cinemit or one of these other levodopa drugs. And the side effects of levodopa are fairly horrendous. I don't need to tell you all of them. You can find that out if you don't already know. So natural dopamine that's already in your brain is better than artificial levodopa or dopamine that you get in to your brain from the outside. So I was on that for 8 years, and at the end of, in 2002, I was able to come off any medication, and I wrote a book. And that book in those days was called There is Life After Parkinson's. And nobody would ever know that I had Parkinson's. And I made this statement in the book. Nobody would ever know. So in order to, before printing that book, I thought I'd better put this to the test. So I went to see a neurologist whom I'd never seen before in Johannesburg. And I told him why I'd come to see him. And he got so cross, he became very red in the face, and he was quite angry, and he made me quite uptight. and like now, my mouth was so dry I could barely speak. He did two very, not even basic tests. And he said, you don't have Parkinson's, therefore you never had Parkinson's, so you should not go around telling people you do. Right. I had to pay him several hundred rands of our currency for that, those gems of advice, and with my tail between my legs. At that time, I had been the chairman of the South African Parkinson's Association for 5 years. Not that I knew a lot about Parkinson's, but you get to know a lot more every day. And within 6 months of that book, which I gave copies of that book to 3 other neurologists and asked them to give me their opinion about what I'd written in the book, and guess what? None of them ever came back to me. But within 6 months of writing that book, I had been asked to leave, resign as chairman of the association. I had been accused at an AGM of misleading people, of claiming to be cured, without the use of medication, and of using the association to sell my book. Now, I just wanted to tell you, because you wouldn't know, they in actual fact came to me and asked me if they could sell the book to raise funds. Do all of you know Dr. Norman Doidge or heard of him? Yes. Some of you? Okay. He wrote a book called The Brain's Way, The Brain That Changes Itself. That's the other one, The Brain's Way of Healing. And he came to see me because I wrote to him and told him about my book and about what I'd done. And he came to see my doctors and my neurologists and all the people that I had told him that I had been able to help. Well, a lot of them anyway. And we went all over South Africa to meet these people. And it's quite clear that I definitely still do have Parkinson's, that he went thoroughly through all my records and satisfied himself that not only do I have Parkinson's, but that I've been able to help a lot of people. But of course, this is not very popular. So all these accusations were absolutely false because I don't claim to be cured. I do tell everybody in the book that what medications I took, and I'm not misleading anybody because what I'm telling you is the truth, and the truth may not be what other people want you to hear. So, between 1994 and 2002, 8 years, I had got better, and I'm 82 years of age now, and I'm probably more healthy than the average person of 60 years because I have to do exercise. And fast walking has been proven, not just by me, I'll tell you about it. In 2006, at the first World Parkinson's Congress held in Washington, D.C., reports were given on the effect of exercise on Parkinson's disease. Now, first of all, why did it take until 2006 to have a congress on dealing with Parkinson's disease? I mean, is it not that important? To me, it's one of the worst diseases there is because it really ruins your life, doesn't it? Everybody? Yes. Right, okay. So 2006, the first one. I'm going now to the fourth one, which is the fourth one now since then. It's the third one since then. And at this Congress, Dr. Michael Zygmunt gave a report on the effect of exercise on, first of all, lab rats. Now, these little lab rats, they're not so little. The benefit of being able to do it on animals is that you can kill them afterwards, right? Now, apparently you can't kill Parkinson patients afterwards. I don't know why that is. I mean, think what we'd gain. I mean, they're going to die anyway. I mean, well, I don't know. But anyway. So, these lab rats, they first of all injected them with something called MPTP. Now, this is something that has been, I don't know, designed or whatever they do by drug addicts to get a high. But not only did they get a high, but they also got Parkinson's. Now, this has been very well documented. So they take this MPTP and they injected these rats and they became Parkinson's rats. Okay. Oh, you can laugh, it's us. Okay. Right, we've got to laugh at ourselves. So these lab rats were divided into various groups. The one group did no exercise at all, right? And each of the other groups did different types of exercise. And I'm only really interested in the ones that got the best results. This is a group that had to climb a pole. I don't know how high the pole was, but it was high. Walk a tightrope. Are all of you able to walk tightrope? Otherwise, I'm wasting my time. You're not? Why you laugh? So they had to walk this tightrope, get something to eat, a very small amount, come back along this tightrope, down the pole, press a button, go up again, and they did this for a whole month. They didn't have a union, obviously. So, at the end of 1 month, those lab rats got better, just doing exercise. All the others got various and varying degrees of better, but they got better. Now, the second study was done on rhesus monkeys. Now, they're about this high. And they didn't get the injection first. They were going to be injected after they had done the exercise to see what protection exercise gave them against Parkinson's. So, they did this exercise. The group that did no exercise, that's the control group. Each one of them did different exercises. And the one I'm interested in is the ones that did fast walking, because monkeys can walk fast. When they got the injection at the end of the exercise period, they did not get Parkinson's. Not at all. So they were protected completely by exercise. So exercise can be neuroprotective, right? So even if you don't know you're going to get Parkinson's, you could be protected by doing fast walking from getting it. Too late now, isn't it? Okay. Why do people write so often to me and want to find out what do I think? Why do I think I got Parkinson's and what can they do to avoid getting Parkinson's? Once you've got it, stop talking about why you got it. Get on with talking about what you can do. Isn't that make sense? Okay. So, the third study sorry, I get tongue-tied. Dr. Beth Fisher, and she's UCLA, she gave the report on the exercise done by Parkinson's patients, also stage 4, I think, the stage before you become bedridden. And these were also divided into a control group. They've already got Parkinson's, so they didn't need to be injected. And various swimming and treadmill and cycling and all other forms of exercise, a lot of exercise, different types of exercise. But the ones who did the best were the fast walking group. Yes. And they got so much better that, again, like me, you wouldn't know that they had Parkinson's. So, they've studied all this. They've been all through this. Did any of you know about it? Why? It doesn't make sense, does it? From our side. It doesn't make sense that they've known about this natural substance, they being the scientists, known about this natural substance, GDNF, and they've known that exercise stops the progression of Parkinson's or slows it down, but nobody is told this. Now, one must just jump to the conclusion that they don't want us to know about it, but you can't do that. Do the doctors themselves know about it? I don't know. And they're the ones we deal with. The drug industry may know about it, but why would they want to tell you about it? Because they can't sell you something that's a natural substance, right? And they're not dealing in exercise. So I think it's a business decision somewhere along the line. We don't know about it. We Parkinson's people do not know about it. Now, there's lots of other things I can tell you, but I want to sort of get on with some practical things. If fast walking is the best thing to overcome Parkinson's, how the hell am I going to convince people who can't walk to do fast walking. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to do this. Okay. So you sir in this wheelchair, can I show you how to walk? Everybody surprised at what they've seen? Yes. Are you surprised that you have never been told this? Not surprised. You're not surprised that you've never been told that?
No.
Why?
Why don't doctors?
That's what I'm saying. I'm surprised they don't tell you to do this.
Yes.
Okay.
I am surprised as well.
Anyway, the point is, they didn't. We don't know about it, and we're being kept in the dark. It's not a conspiracy. It's just a fact. Okay. We have to get used to it. Now, I'm going around trying to persuade. Have you ever heard of Feldenkrais? Yes. Feldenkrais deal with conscious control of movement and conscious control of the body, which is exactly what I've been doing for the last half an hour, right? Yes?
What do you do with balance?
Yes, I'll talk about the balance just now, okay. So, Feldenkrais, if they take this on, I want them to set up walking classes so that you can go somewhere and do the walk. Right? That makes sense to you? Yes. Would you support them if they did it? Yes. Okay. Now, they should also see that you walk properly, and they will see that you're not doing the wrong things, because it's very important not to walk badly. So I'm doing that while I'm here. I don't charge for any of this. Okay? I'm not doing it to make money. I want you to get better. I want you to show the medical world that you can get better. Because if more and more of us do it, yes?
Could you repeat the name of the group that you're supposed
Feldenkrais, Feldenkrais. And you can look them up. They're all over the place, okay? Right. Okay? So,
And they're promoting walking.
no, they will be, okay? But we are busy. I'm busy dealing with them while I'm here. Everywhere I go, I'm dealing with them, okay? And hopefully they will come up with some organization that you can go to start doing walking, okay, safely. Now, what have you got to do? If those of you who have somebody can help them to do what I'm doing here, which is just holding your arm. I'm not doing anything. I'm not pushing you or pulling you or carrying you or anything like that. I'm just there in case you trip or fall, okay? I would suggest that you walk on grass, because if you do fall, you're not going to break too many things, okay? Why you laugh? It's true, yes. Oh, I know. When you hurt, I mean, I've got scars all over the place from falls. But when you fall on grass, especially if you just relax and you don't hurt yourself, but you're falling on something soft anyway. If you walk on grass, your brain has to work very hard because it's not smooth and even. So you have to think about what your feet are doing. Every time you put a foot down, you have to think about it. And it is the brain where you have the problem. Your body, there's nothing wrong with your body. Or is there? Does anybody think there's something wrong with their body other than the usual thing, arthritis, or that sort of thing? We can't help that, but the more exercise you do, the better your body is. You've heard of the saying, use it or lose it? Okay. Now you only thought that meant sex, didn't you? Well, it goes for walking as well. Okay. Whatever muscles you don't use, you will lose. That's a fact of life. Any of you ever break an arm or a leg or something when you were younger? And you put it in a cast? What happened when it was in the cast for 6 weeks? It became half the size, right? That just shows you how quickly your muscles deteriorate if you don't use them. Okay? Now, I think you've all seen that everybody's capable of walking quite fast, okay? And that's with no training. So right from the start, you can actually walk quite fast. In fact, they could all have gone even faster, okay? So you know that the faster you walk, the better you will get. If you don't walk fast enough, your body will not produce this GDNF. Why does it produce the GDNF? The answer is I don't know for certain. But I know it's happened, and I know it's happening to a lot of people that I've been talking to. And my guess is it's something to do with fight or flight. Being, if you're in trouble, you either run away from it or you fight that trouble. And in which case, if you do one or the other, you stand a good chance of getting hurt. And the body has this natural ability to repair damaged cells, whatever gets hurt. If you break a bone, you put the bones together, and they knit themselves together with bone cells. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that marvelous? And skin and hair and everything else. It all replaces itself with its own type of body cell.
Could you talk more about the hair replacement?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, there's lots of answers to that. People make a fortune out of putting new hair in the place of the old one, right? I always ask the question, why? I know it's easy if you've got hair to say, why do you want hair if you haven't got hair? But it's a good question. It's like having tremors. I mean, a tremor like this, it doesn't hurt. It's unsightly, okay, especially for ladies. And they don't like people to see them like this. Now, the two things come to mind with this. When you get Parkinson's, how many of you told everybody that you had it? Stick your hands up. 5, 6, 7, 8 of you? Okay. How many didn't tell? Can we be honest? Yes. A lot more, right? Okay. When you don't tell people that you've got Parkinson's, have you ever thought what they think is happening to you? Drugs, drink, MS. Well, sorry. You mean, no, I mean, well, even so, the same thing. Whatever you've got, tell your friends, tell your employers, tell everybody, and tell them what it does to you. It doesn't stop you working. But what stops you working is stress. When you get so stressed in your job because you don't want to lose your job, because they don't know that you've got Parkinson's, because they think that you're drinking or something's going on, and the chances are they are going to get rid of you, because they don't know anything about Parkinson's. They don't even know that you've got Parkinson's. So tell everybody, and get as much information as you can from Parkinson's organizations as to what Parkinson's can do, the symptoms of Parkinson's. And I'm sure that most people will want to help you under those circumstances, am I right? Yes. Including employers, right? So, the maxim is to tell people, communicate, and you're helping yourself, right? Now we come to balance. Can I have a drink before I go any further? I've got here. Thank you. Here's the problem. If you don't use it, you lose it. What are you actually losing when it comes to balance? Give me some idea.
Mobility.
Well, you're losing the ability to correct falling. When you start to fall, like going sideways like this, your body automatically starts moving muscles. But if those muscles aren't very strong, what's the result going to be? You're going to fall. If you're not communicating between here and here, which as we know is the problem, what's the result going to be? You just fall. I mean, you start going over and everybody watches and you fall flat on your face or on your backside, whatever, because you're not connecting up. Nothing is being used. You stopped using it. Right, so what have we got to do? I don't seem to find too many doorways. Just imagine I'm standing in a doorway. If you've got a doorway at home, which I'm sure you have, all of you, and you practice as often as you can, standing with one foot in the middle of that doorway, standing on that foot, lifting the other foot, and taking your hand away, and just practice this balancing. What am I doing? My brain is telling these muscles to move this way, that way. And if I start falling, I put my hand out. I don't fall. So you know you're not going to fall. So you can relax and do this, and you'll start off, like this. But within a short while, you will get better. What are you doing? You're connecting your brain to that leg. And then you're doing the same with this leg. Okay? And you start to develop these muscles at the side that start pulling it this way or that way. Make sense? Yes? Does it make sense? Okay. So, is it going to be too much every day to practice a bit of balancing if you want to get better? Do you need much motivation for doing that? Yes. Who said yes? Was that a joke, or do you think you need motivation? You can use some more motivation. Okay. Do you have Parkinson's? Okay. Would you like to walk? Or you walk a lot. Okay, fine. So, the message I'm getting through to you is everything is entirely up to you. Nobody can do it for you. Okay? Because it's your brain and your muscles that need to be brought together and need to be strengthened, both there and there. Okay? Does that all make sense?
Yeah.
Right. So we're winning, aren't we? How's the time? We've got a half an hour left. No, we've got an hour left, haven't we? Yes. Okay. Questions? Yes.
I utilize walking sticks. Would you say that is helpful or not for fast walking? It helps to steady me and walk in this, not a zigzaggy, but a straight direction and forward mobility.
Okay. My answer to you is, were you born with walking sticks? Hello. You don't need walking sticks to walk. Or other people are just saying to you, you need some help, and you start going downhill. So you are now learning to walk holding these things, and you can become dependent on them. So take away those sticks, and you don't know what to do. You are losing something, not gaining something. And you can't walk fast with walking sticks.
I can.
I bet you can't.
And it keeps me upright.
Yes, I know. But what I'm saying is that you can't walk fast with walking sticks, as fast as you possibly can. You walk slower with walking sticks. But you're saying to me that you can't walk at all because you can't walk without the sticks.
Well, I do walk.
Yes.
I can walk without them, but
Hmm?
any prolonged walking. I
Yes.
can walk without sticks in
Okay.
my house. I
Okay.
can walk without sticks.
Okay, fine. So, what's the first approach? I'll come to you. The first approach is start walking for a time that you can cope with, and walk once, 3 times a week, once every second day. In other words, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Have one day off over the weekend. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, you set your alarm clock and you say, I'm going walking at 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock, whenever it is, before you start any other social arrangement. And walk for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, no more than 10 minutes. Walking as fast as you can, balancing, standing upright, erect, because when you're not standing erect, it's easy to fall. And when you stand like this, it's easy to fall. You've got to stand erect and start walking consciously moving those legs, not willing yourself to move.
With a long stride.
As long as you can, yes, okay. But too long a stride, you tend to lose your balance. So I would rather do shorter strides and lengthen them as you get stronger, okay? Every second week, you add 5 minutes onto what you started with. So if you start with 10 minutes, which is the most, at the end of 2 weeks, you go to 15 minutes. At the end of 4 weeks, you go to 20 minutes. At the end of 6 weeks, you go to 25 minutes. Does that make sense to you all? So you're doing it slowly. You need a day to recover from strenuous exercise. Your muscles need a day to recover. Otherwise, they get weaker. Like me going to the gym for 90 minutes, remember? I got weaker. I got worse because I was doing too much. You've got to give your muscles a chance to relax, okay, to recover. Right, I have answered your question. You may not like the answer, okay? Try to learn to walk without sticks. That's why I say if you can walk with somebody to start off with, so that you don't have to think about falling. And all of these people that walked, there was no sign of them falling. They didn't give me any indication that they were beginning to fall. They started off like that, but after 2 steps they were walking normally. Okay. Yes, there was a lady. Okay.
As far as the treadmill goes, I always have that security holding on so I won't fall. Is that a no-no?
It's a no-no. Treadmill. I've seen guys in the gym reading a book or watching television. So how much of their brain are they using to do the walking? None. And what's more, they're not even doing the effort of moving, because the treadmill moves them. They don't move the treadmill. Right? This, you've got to get your body working and your brain working. The best way you can is to use them, and the best way is to walk on your own as fast as you can. Okay? Yes?
Repeat the initials. You said the brain produces.
Okay.
Say that again, please.
Can we get this microphone?
Can't hear you.
Would you, Tom? It's called GDNF, glial-derived neurotrophic factor, GDNF. You can look at it on Google. You can learn everything you want to. Okay.
How is the GD?
Sorry, no, the lady behind you.
Are you saying it's better to walk on the ground versus the treadmill?
Very definitely.
Okay, and what's the proper way to?
There's no
swing?
sound coming from there.
What is the proper way to swing your arms?
Forwards and backwards. The opposite. If your left leg is going forward, your right arm is going forward. Is that what you're asking?
Okay, but so you want them up high?
No. I prefer to walk like this with my arms half crossing my body, but that's natural for me. What's natural for you is what you should be doing. But if you have a straight arm going out like that, it has too far to travel to be able to go fast. Because fast, that's hard. But this is much easier. Okay? It's only to balance you that you do that. Yes, this lady here? Yeah?
What is the connection between the GDNF and fast walk?
Okay. One produces the other. Fast walking produces GDNF. I think it's the only thing that I did from 1994 to 2002 that was different to the previous 29 years or 30 odd years. Okay? I was never doing fast walking other than on a treadmill for a short period of time, but I wasn't doing enough of it to produce the GDNF. If your brain thinks you're in trouble, which fast walking is not natural. If you were in a hurry, you would run, wouldn't you? And running is much easier than fast walking. Can I just... That is not very fast, but I'm on a slippery floor with the leather shoes. But that is faster than we were going just now. You've got to think what you're doing the whole time, because if you fall at that speed, you fall hard. And you can't correct it because it's too fast. Okay?
So your theory is that the fast walking stimulates the GDNF?
It does, yes. It's the only thing that I can think, because it's the only thing that happened. And people are doing it and getting that benefit. Okay?
Are you taking the elder pearl?
No, I don't take anything anymore. 14 years now, I don't take medication.
Do you
Yes?
think that improved?
Sorry?
Did that cause improvement?
It did, yes. It helped me. It gave me enough GDNF, enough dopamine in my brain to do the exercise. Okay? Yes?
So are you saying if you do the fast walking every other day to eliminate going to the gym?
I don't go to the gym anymore. Yeah.
Just do the fast walking?
You can go to the gym and do other exercises in between days.
Like the machine?
Yeah, but it's up to you. But don't use the same muscles that you're using for walking. Okay? Right, yes?
And what do you suggest the goal should be in terms of duration and speed?
Right, maximum speed, maximum goal 1 hour. 3 times a week. That's maximum. Minimum, whatever you can do to start. Okay? Yes, more on this side? Yes?
Do you have any, my husband and I also do stationary tandem bicycling. Do you have any information about that?
Well, Beth Fisher, if you look up Beth Fisher and walking, or Beth Fisher exercise and Parkinson's, you'll see this, all the things that she came, the report is that long, you know. The best exercise was fast walking. She called it high intensity walking. But she did treadmill and she did bicycles and all sorts of things. They didn't come anywhere near. Swimming doesn't do anything to reduce GDNF. Swimming. But swimming is a lovely, lovely exercise. Okay? But it's not doing anything for Parkinson's. Yes?
What if I want to walk from my apartment to the restaurant down the street?
Yeah.
I'm in the city, I'm not a fast walk, which I did.
Well, I live in the city and I walk in the city.
Do fast walking on the sidewalk?
But I walk on the sidewalk, yeah. Okay. But I do it at 7 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning before there's too many people. But I know what you're saying.
You have to do it at 3 a.m.
Well, I don't mind.
O'clock, streets are crowded.
Absolutely.
Emergency crews are out.
Yeah, quite.
Picking up whatever they.
Bodies, yeah. Okay. More questions?
Yes.
Yes.
I've noticed that in my walk or my movement, I'm losing confidence in where my feet are going down,
Right.
where my feet are touching.
Right.
So,
You were looking like this all the time.
well, or I'm not in good balance
Right.
because I'm uncertain about
Okay.
it.
But you're getting weaker and weaker, isn't that correct?
No, actually, I don't think so.
Oh, you're not?
Yeah, well, you know, I don't know. I've had now been diagnosed for a couple of years.
Yes.
And when it happened, when I did that, I said, nobody knew what to do.
No.
I mean, they just say, here it is, you got it.
That's correct.
And, so I thought, well, there are only two things I can do that I'm sure will be all right. And one is to lose weight,
Yeah.
and the other is to exercise.
Right. And you can do both of them, right? At the same time. Exercise that helps you to lose weight. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, those are the two
No,
goals.
that's right, yes. And you've done very well on the one.
Yeah, on both, actually.
On both, no.
Yeah.
But the more you exercise, the less you'll have this problem of losing balance, because it is loss of strength. It is half the problem with balance, and the other half is not controlling it from here. You're not in touch with your feet. So when you're standing in this doorway, you can practice swinging your legs like this, just to have the control, the mental control of your legs and your arms. Just get used to controlling from here. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Is using both the brain and the body to find out what you can do and what you can't do, and then start building up the things that you can't do, that you used to do. I don't mean backflips and so forth, mind you. More questions, yes?
Yes, one more. Did you ever have issues with hand coordination, and did fast walking help? And I'm talking about like shampooing your hair, drying yourself,
Cleaning your teeth.
stirring a pot.
Trying to clean your
or when
teeth.
you feel depleted, your extremities, your arms and your head.
Well, I've just lost on this trip, I've lost my electric toothbrush. And then the first thing I found is I can't clean my teeth, because what I have to do now is hold the toothbrush still and move my head. You laugh, but I can do that. I cannot do this, and I can't get this toothbrush to properly go up and down. So, what did I mention to you first? Throwing a ball, remember? Coordination. I lost that in 1963. That's a long time ago, 53 years. I can't throw a ball still. It doesn't make any difference to my life. So there's certain things that I can't do that don't matter. Okay? I can't do them because I cannot get that coordination, like the toothbrush, I can't. But I'm not going to stop living because I can't clean my teeth or I can't throw a ball. Accept it. Does it cause you a problem?
Yes.
What?
Well, being able to do things on your own.
Yes, but I mean, they're not essential things, are they? What is the cleaning your teeth is essential, but I can use an electric toothbrush. But what else?
Well, personal hygiene, shampooing yourself.
Yeah, okay, yes.
drying
But
yourself.
you can shampoo yourself. You can go through your hair and clean. Oh, I'm sure somebody's willing to come and help you.
No, I guess my only question was, so you're not, the fact that you stopped taking medication didn't make further problems in that regard?
No, all the things I want to do, I can do.
Okay.
Okay, and I live a perfectly normal life, in my opinion. I do lots of things. Okay, I mean, I've skied, I've done all sorts of things like that. You know, at the age of 60 odd, and into my 70s. Okay, more, yes.
I noticed with my husband, he has a hard time lifting his feet.
That's right. He's not. He's subconsciously trying to will them to walk. Okay. Where's your husband? Not here. Come. Right. Hello. What's the name?
Roger.
Roger. Okay. Roger. Now, Roger, I want you to just. I'm not going to hold your hand. You know you can slick your legs out, can't you? I mean, yes. Okay. Show off. The other one. Ooh. Okay. Show off. Stand on your toes. Okay. Now, you're not connecting with your conscious brain, and your subconscious cannot communicate completely with you. Okay, with your body. So you've got to get used to consciously moving everything. So let's walk with you to the heel. Do you remember the heel? Heel. Right. Now, come as fast as you can, and get used to just heel, conscious heel. Okay? Now, you've got no trouble walking at all because you're doing it consciously. But when you try to persuade your legs to walk, there's no connection there. The subconscious is not connecting. Okay? Right, off you go. I didn't mention this. Everything that gives us trouble with Parkinson's are things that you do subconsciously. Does that make sense to you? Writing is subconscious. Bringing food to your mouth is subconscious. Walking is subconscious. In fact, 98% of the things you do subconsciously. Driving a car, all subconscious. The only thing you take over is when you put your foot on the brake. Right? That's conscious. Right? If you've got a stick shift, as you call it, it's all subconscious. You do it without thinking. Those things cause you trouble with Parkinson's. Not everybody. I may be able to do this, and you may be able to do that, but I can't do that, and you can't do this, okay? Our brains are not damaged in the same place, in exactly the same pattern as anybody else. So everybody is different, yes?
If during the course of fast walking, a person needs to take regular breaks, is that going to reduce the effect?
What effect? What type of regular break for? You mean toilet break, or?
No, just tired and
No,
need to sit.
that's why you don't do too much to start off with. You start at as much as you can do the first time, and stick to that for 2 weeks. Then add whatever you can.
So no breaks?
No.
No breaks?
No,
Okay.
it is the constant connection there that builds up pathways in the brain. Okay?
Okay.
Right. Yes?
Why not running? Just
It's easier than fast walking, and because of that, the brain doesn't get this idea that you're in trouble. Because we used to run to catch animals, you know, and we weren't in trouble. It's when you suddenly are fighting. The fast walking is not natural, especially you saw the speed. It's not natural. So the brain gets a message there's something wrong, and produces this GTNF plus all the growth factor everywhere. Okay. Yes.
At what point did you know when to stop taking the medication? Were you walking previous to that? And
Do you remember?
felt better, or?
Do you remember I said I went to a doctor in 2002 because I'd written the book and I'd said nobody will ever know that I've got Parkinson's, and he got so cross. He told me to come off the medication. So I did. Okay. I think he did it with ulterior motives, but they didn't work. Okay. Yes.
Did you stop immediately?
Sorry?
Did you stop immediately, or did you?
Yes, I stopped straight away. I stopped straight.
Just stopped entirely.
That's right.
how is your handwriting now?
I can't write. I write in block letters. If you do something different, it works. Okay. Has anybody got anything here that I can pretend is a knife? I don't want to stab anyone. Okay, just imagine that I've got a knife. Yes, okay, I'll cut my meat with a microphone. Okay. Hello? Hello? Everybody can hear me? Doesn't matter, it's a fork now, or knife. When you cut your meat, assume that you cut your meat with one hand or the other, you have a pattern which you use to cut the meat. But suddenly you can't do it because you're shaking and your hand twists over like this. So what you do, that's the subconscious can't do that anymore. So change the angle that you're doing it. Start cutting it from here, which you didn't do before. So you have to do it consciously. and you have it, and you cut, and there's no problem. Now with a glass, imagine this is a glass now. Now this is my shake is there. I don't have a shake in this side. Okay, so now if I bring a glass to my mouth and it's got water in it or tea or whatever, and I tip it like this, I'm going to spill half of it. Okay, so if I turn my wrist around like that, do you see there's no shake? Okay, no shake, because I'm doing it differently. If I hold it tight, I'm doing it differently. It doesn't shake. Okay? Who's got a resting tremor now? You have? You have a resting tremor. You've got a resting tremor. Okay, so show me your resting tremor. Okay, now clench your fist. Gone. Okay, because she clenched her fist, the tremor disappears, because she's doing it consciously. How do you do? Right. You wanted to show the tremor? That's no tremor.
You have to rest,
Okay.
rest
No,
your arm
no,
and
you
you
just
see
if
the
you
tremor.
well, that's, all he has to do is clench his fist, and the tremor will disappear. That's it. Okay, right. You see, if you switch from conscious, subconscious to conscious, whatever it is disappears, and you're able to do it differently. I write in block letters from 1968 onwards. I've written in block letters. I still can't write unless I do it very slowly. If I slowly, I don't need this. I don't think it's working anyway. If I can draw an S or an F slowly, but it takes me about 10 minutes to write three words, and that's not practical. So I write in block letters. I've written in block letters since 1968. Yes.
I have a question. I'm interested, you've been doing the fast walking for a long time.
Can we stop this noise? Sorry?
You've been doing the fast walking a long time and had really good results. Has there ever been during this time period a segment where you haven't been able to do it?
No.
And have you noticed what happened?
Yeah.
Do you immediately then start to have,
Let me tell you.
yeah,
Right. If you do things that I've told you not to do, like I decided to walk every day instead of every second day, and within a short period of time I tore a muscle in my calf. And then a short while until that muscle was repaired, I couldn't do any walking. So then my symptoms start to take over again. Okay, so I notice my symptoms getting worse because I'm not doing the walking. That was a long time ago. Then I went down to Cape Town. I was living in Johannesburg, and I started doing my walking on the beach. And I started to walk in the soft sand at the top of the beach. And I tore the ligaments in my feet, in this right foot. And I was 5.5 months without walking, because I'm doing what I've told not to do, okay? But I'm too good, I'm much better than anybody else. I can do everything I want. Don't laugh, it's sad. Yeah.
Because you're saying that you're trying to connect with the brain with the walking, is it better not to walk and talk? Like if I walk with a friend,
You're speaking to a man. We can't walk and talk. So, I know.
women talk more.
Of course, yes, they do. We agree. Women talk more, right?
But I notice if I'm rushing or not paying attention, I can trip.
That's
so
right.
Is it better if I go out by myself?
You've answered your own question. Concentrate on what you're doing,
So
okay?
don't take a friend.
Concentrate on the walking.
Because you are trying to concentrate, you're not trying
You can't walk fast and talk. You can and concentrate if you're doing concentrating. I can walk like this and still, and I won't walk well, but Right. More questions? Oh, sorry.
What do you suggest for depression and anxiety?
What's good for depression?
And anxiety?
Well, walking produces endorphins, and endorphins get rid of all depression far better than medication does. And Parkinson's covers so many things. I mentioned stress, but I didn't talk about stress. I gave up my job the day I was diagnosed, if you remember, which meant I gave up a huge salary and I gave up all the perks that go with the job, and my life changed very considerably. But what changed on the positive side there was I didn't have the stress of running a big company. And you can't imagine what that did for my symptoms, particularly depression. I mean, I was on Prozac and all these things, you know. And that's not natural. When you do this walking, you cannot believe how good you feel when you have a shower after you've done a walk and you are alive again. And depression takes a back seat, but it's always there. It will take over if you give it the opportunity. So just analyze what causes you stress. And let me give you a list of things that cause most people stress. Children, parents, co-employees, friends. And it's mainly people that give you stress, am I right? You laugh, it's serious. This is a serious thing. And the best thing to do when you've got stress with people, particularly your family, is to sit and talk to them and make them understand what they're doing to you, what you are doing to them. Okay? Whatever the stress is, because stress isn't a one-way thing. It's invariably a two-way thing. It's always a two-way thing. It's not just what they're doing to you, but what you're doing to them in response to what they do to you. So sit and talk about it. None of your family want you to die an early death because of Parkinson's, because they are causing you stress. If they were aware of that fact, I'm sure that they would all want to do something about it. Now today, one of the biggest problems throughout the world is unemployment, right? Especially amongst youth. Correct? This means grandchildren. This means children. And when they come to you and say, I need you to help me because I can't get a job and I need to do this and I've got to buy that and blah, 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 you're not helping them. So what do? You can't sit back and say, well, that's your problem. But that would be better than saying, here's $100, go and buy whatever it is that you want. Because you're making them depend upon you. When you go, who are they going to depend on then? You're not helping them. In days gone by, I mean, I grew up before the war. Not the Boer War, not even the First World War, the Second World War. And in those days, most people had to find something that they could do that other people would pay them to do. Doesn't matter what it is. Does that ring a bell? They fix things, they fix your taps and come and do gardening and do all those sort of things. If your children had to do jobs like that, tough. At least they will have a job and they will start getting self-respect, right? Start solving problems instead of easy money and stress, okay? Yes?
I've heard recommended Tai Chi,
Yes.
yoga, and dancing.
Tai Chi, yes.
You and all of these.
Very good, all of them. Now, did you know that dancing you do consciously, therefore you can dance? A lot of people have said, do you know, I got up with my wife and we danced as if nothing had gone wrong. Nothing has gone wrong with your conscious brain. Start using it. When you do things that you don't have to think about, that's when things go wrong. Okay? So, boxing. I know this fisticuffs, you know, only they're not allowed to hit you, right? It's just you doing the motions. And you know what? You can do it perfectly normal because you're doing it consciously. Okay? As a guy holds a glove up like this and then he holds it there and you go there and you go here. And you get used to this and he moves them. You won't hold them in the same place and you're going to, you know. But that's what you'd want. That's what you're doing it for, to get to use your brain. Okay? Yes, more questions? Yes?
I appreciate what you have shared. There's a question on the cost of your book.
Oh dear, okay. It's $18 delivered to your door, right? $18. 200 pages of advice on how to overcome all Parkinson problems that I have been able to overcome. Okay?
You have some here that we can buy?
I couldn't carry them all. No, it's serious. I've been all around Australia, New Zealand, England, Holland, now the US, and I'm going to Canada next month. Books weigh a ton, and you can't take more than a certain number because your baggage, you're only allowed so much, and you run out the first week. So I'll give you, before you leave, my website, which is reverseparkinsons.net. Okay, but I've got these things and we'll give everybody one. It's $18. You pay through PayPal. It's easy done. It's delivered to your door, no extra charge, and it'll be there in a couple of weeks. And I can't do better than that. Okay. If I have them here, I have tax problems, and you have tax problems. You've got to pay all sorts of things. Okay.
Did you say reverseparkinsons.com?
Not .net. .net. Yeah. But I'll give you it in writing before you leave. Like to pass it around, no? Sorry?
Did the walking help the tremors?
Yes. I don't have a resting tremor, but people who've got resting tremor it tends to go away with the exercise. And when you start getting stronger, and somehow or another, it just more or less disappears.
I can stop it if I focus.
That's right. You concentrate, and it stops.
Yeah.
No, that's good. Don't let it worry you.
No,
It's like the bald head, you know. Who cares that he's got a bald head? Only he cares. Yes, carry on.
Is there a supplement and diet changes?
Okay, I'm glad you mentioned this. I don't know any supplement that fixes anything, but I don't sell supplements. I have taken something called CalMag, calcium and magnesium, for a long, long time, and I do believe that it helps me, but it's not a supplement. It's a chemical mineral, yes. Now, you've got to have calcium and magnesium chelated, CHELLATED. If it's not chelated, it's no good, because it's only when they're together, chelated, that they can get through the blood-brain barrier, which is where you need them. Okay, so chelated CalMag, calcium and magnesium, are a very useful, not chemical, what is the word? Mineral to take. Omega-3 is very useful to take. Sorry? CalMag, calcium and magnesium. They're chelated. CHELLATED.
What does chelated mean?
It joined together, chelated. They're joined together at atomic level.
And what does that help?
Well, calcium is also a neurotransmitter. It's also needed for the brain, from the bones and so forth. But it has a lot. I'm not a chemist, so if you look it up on the internet, you'll see what it does for you, particularly with the magnesium. Other questions? Omega-3. Those are the two that I agree one should have. But I'm not a chemist. I'm not got nothing to do with. I don't know any more than that. Okay. I'm not saying no.
Question.
Yes.
Back to the diet. What are your thoughts on caffeine, alcohol?
When I stopped drinking coffee 30 odd years ago, I stopped my shake. Most of it. It's only when I'm stressed I shake.
What about a glass of wine?
What about, yes, thanks. I thought you were offering a glass of wine. I drink a glass of wine every day. Every day. Now, there's one thing, those of you taking medication, the levodopa type medication, in fact, maybe all of them, don't eat grapefruit. Okay? Grapefruit is a no-no. Now, that's the only rule I know. The other rule that I know is when you take medication and you've got protein in your stomach, the medication doesn't get to your brain, which is where you need it. So you have to allow at least 1, maybe 2 hours maximum after eating before you take medication, or at least 3/4 of an hour before you eat. And if you take your medication 3/4 of an hour before you eat, you won't have too much trouble. Does that make sense to all of you?
Is that true with the Azilect?
Sorry?
Is that true with the Azilect?
No, just these other. Okay. Yes?
If you walk 3 times a week, is it permissible to take yoga or other exercises?
Yes, of course.
In between?
You can do anything you like. Anything you like. Just don't use these muscles in between time. Okay? You won't feel like using them on the same day because you will have gone flat out. You know, you don't want to overdo it.
The weekend is plenty of rest for the muscles.
Yeah, yeah. You can carry on doing Tai Chi or anything of these things. Tai Chi is very good. Right. Now, I keep hearing something and I keep forgetting to tell you something to do with resting. Can't think. Yes. Yeah.
If you have a dominant side and a non-dominant side.
Get rid of her. The dominant side. Get rid of her.
The non-dominant side is weaker, so walking improves the strength.
Yes, because you're using both sides, you won't have a dominant side. We've all got dominant sides, but it's natural. You know, your brain naturally has a dominant side, therefore your body has a dominant side. But don't worry about it. I mean, it's.
Well, the non-dominant side is weaker. You can't pick up as much weight as
Yes.
the dominant side.
Okay. Now,
And you can't do as much activity.
but it's only because you don't use the non-dominant side. You know, I'm left-handed. I've never tried to write with my left hand. So guess what? I can't write with my left hand. Never tried. But what I'm saying, you just start using things, exercising both sides. Okay. I carry a 1 kilogram weight in each arm when I'm walking, which helps me. It doesn't do much for my muscles, but it does do something. But it gives me a pendulum action with my arms. I don't have to think about them swinging so much as I normally did have to. Okay? And what I was going to say about rest, I've now forgotten again. It keeps coming and it keeps going. It's all to do with rest. But anyway, we'll carry on with questions until... Yes?
Is there a minimum time before one might expect to see benefits from fast walking?
You remember I said 4 months I saw the benefits with the gym, with the walking? You will find that you feel better, not consciously better every day, but because when you're doing this, you feel a better person. And you can start measuring it with your results of walking. My walking time came down to 6 3/4 minutes a kilometre. If you remember, it started at over 10.5. Now that's almost double the speed. So that does something for you, right? And then if you keep a record of what your walks are, the times that you take, that record, when it's written down, does the world of good to you. It's like your golf. If you play golf and you get a handicap, the handicap's the best thing about golf because it tells you, hell, you're playing better, and you're playing. It also goes the other way. The last time I played, I lost 5 balls in 3 holes. For those of you who know anything about golf, that's not very good. And it took an hour and a half. So that was the last time I played golf, obviously. Okay. It doesn't do you any good when that happens, okay? That was in 1982. Yes? Yeah?
I'm a little bit confused on, you said that you said about stress.
Yeah?
The stress it has a negative effect.
Very, very strong negative effect.
But then at the same time you say that when you walk faster, you're generating a little bit of stress.
No, I didn't say that.
No, you said that you're making yourself feel like
No, I have to concentrate. That's not stress. When I go faster, I have to concentrate very
you
hard.
said that something, you had the feeling that something is off.
No, I said the brain thinks there's something wrong.
So
You know, because you.
that I
That's
understand
not.
as stress.
I don't think. Well, it might be stress, but it starts to produce this GDNF because to protect itself. Okay.
And also because I read Norman Deutsch's book,
Yes.
and he said that you wanted to generate perspiration
Yeah, that's right.
to create a little bit of stress.
Yeah, it's not the stress I'm talking about.
Okay.
Harmful stress. Stress is good. You can't live without stress, but harmful stress you can live without, and you need to live without. Okay.
No, the stressors are there. It's how you deal with it.
But there's harmful stress and there's good stress. Okay. Yes.
I
Right.
have a question over here.
Yes. Okay.
I can remember, you said at one point you walk 6 days a week.
I walk.
And then at another point you said.
No, I said I went to gym 6 days a week.
Oh, okay, so it's
Yeah.
walking 3 days a
I
week.
walk 3 times a week. In actual fact, I walk 7 times in 2 weeks, every second day.
Okay, got it.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Monday, Wednesday. Huh?
Okay, great, thank you.
Right, eh? Right. Yes, sir.
Yeah, on that, you mentioned walking on grass.
Yes.
Okay. I used to bet on horses. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And
And you had to eat grass, is it?
you're only looking for opportunities to make money. You know these weird
Yeah.
facts,
Huh?
and when you see them play out, you put your money on it. Now, one of those things is betting on horses that are racing on rainy days.
Right.
Okay, and I found out that the horses that end up doing well on the mud
Huh?
are horses that exercised on the grass,
Right,
but not on an exercise track,
Right.
on a field.
on a field.
Because where nobody's making any change in the height,
Right,
and this is what I wanted to bring out,
Oh.
the height of the grass
right,
changes.
okay,
So when you're walking on that field, you're adjusting to a totally subconscious
That's right.
stress,
right,
to answer his question. And your body is more prone to adapt to that.
right,
Now then, how does that affect? It affects everything.
Hmm.
Because if you change it and you make the track muddy
Hmm.
and slippery
Hmm.
and thunder and all of that, that horse wins.
because its brain is used to dealing with it.
It's the subconscious
That's right.
things going on. Like
It's had
you said,
lots of
the field
exercise.
is not a regular thing.
Right.
So like the worst fast walk would be the Olympic fast walk.
Right.
Where they have this
On a track,
clean
that's right.
course
Right, flat as a
with
peg.
lines,
That's right,
nothing changes, and you just do this wiggle, wiggle,
that's right,
wiggle.
that's right.
And you get there, but your brain's asleep. You're just going,
That's right.
I don't know what's going on in that person. He's racing 10,000 kilometers. You know. It's crazy. But if you're doing it on a natural surface,
That's right.
and I'm not saying
Grass is
sidewalks,
uneven, and you have to think about it. That's right.
that might be too many obstacles.
Well,
But
that's
if you can find a field, and you get these little subtle changes.
okay.
Just the height of the grass,
Mm.
the moisture in the morning,
Mm.
all these things, you're not thinking about it, your brain has to deal with it.
That's correct. No?
And it senses from your toe
Mm.
and your heel and your ankle,
Right.
all the way up.
That's right.
Everything is adjusted.
And that brain makes your brain stronger, makes all these pathways in the brain stronger, and you stronger. It does that. Thank you. Yes.
I concur with that because my.
You also lost money, right?
When I visited my dad, he's a neurologist and anatomist.
Huh?
He had got about a half a mile track built and had sand in it put in. And he had me get up every morning while I was with him
Okay.
and walk on that sand.
Okay.
And that was just like pretty good fill
Huh?
with sand.
Huh?
And each time I walked and would come back, the third day I remember, I start feeling really good
Right.
because due to that neuroconnectivity.
Okay. So he knew what he was doing, didn't he?
Right.
So why doesn't he tell me?
I was
What?
concurring with.
Yes. No. No. I say, why didn't neurologists tell me these
Oh,
things?
yeah,
Yeah,
no,
okay.
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, they wouldn't let you go to the track and gamble.
No, of course not. Okay.
Question,
Yes.
what about shoes?
I need them.
Do you recommend any kind of,
Well, I walk in what you call tennis shoes. Every country's got different words for this. For these, good walking shoe with rubber, rubber soles, and you play tennis in that sort of thing. But you've got to have good shoe footwear. Sorry. Any other questions?
I've also read where they say a lot of people with Parkinson's are more prone to like a dementia thing, so there's something special.
Only because they don't use their brains. They stop using their brain.
The
I think, nobody's come up with the cause of dementia or Alzheimer's. I have a strong feeling, and it's just JohnPepper having a strong feeling, that Alzheimer's should be approached in the same way as Parkinson's as far as this growth factor is concerned. Because whatever brain cell is affected in Alzheimer's would be affected, there will be a brain cell affected that has its own growth factor, and if you do fast walking when it produces the growth factor, you may also be able to deal with Alzheimer's the same way. Fortunately, I don't have Alzheimer's to put it to the test, but I'm trying to find somebody who's at the right stage of Alzheimer's that they may be able to reverse it. But that's the difficulty. They've got to do the walking, not somebody else. Okay? Right, any more questions?
I have.
Yes?
Would you say again, at what point did you know you could get off the medication? I'm not quite clear on that.
The doctor that I went to see tell me that I do, he can't see that I've got Parkinson's without doing tests. Remember? And he got very cross with me because I came to see him about that. and he did two little, it wasn't proper tests, and he said, you don't have Parkinson's, therefore you shouldn't tell people that you have Parkinson's, right? He was very cross that I'm going around telling people if they do fast walking, then they can get over their Parkinson's, and that didn't please him.
So had you continued on the medication and you were as improved as you were, what would have?
It wouldn't have done anything. I'm just spending a lot of money for nothing. Yeah. It took me a while to get used to not having the medication. It took me over a year.
In what way?
Well, I felt that I needed things, and I was clumsy again and so forth, but I just worked my way through it and treated it as a challenge and not, oh me, you know, what do I, let's go and get another another script, you know.
So those are true symptoms, only you just found a way to get over it.
That's correct, John. I mean, I've still got symptoms. I mean, my wife will tell you, I'm standing like this now, and she will say, you promised you were going to shout when I... We've only been married 2 years. My wife died 5 years ago, and her husband, who had Parkinson's for 22 years, he died nearly 10 years ago. And we got together 3 years ago, and I sent her an email. Would you like to get to know me better? Because I couldn't come on this trip on my own. But and what happened was she said, yes, I'd like to get to know you better, but just as a friend, because I did say in that first email, if we got to like each other, we would get married. So it was a marriage proposal and a... Well, I had learned something that most people don't learn, and that is you can't live happily on your own. We had both been married very happily for 50-odd years. So to suddenly not have a partner is terrible, especially with Parkinson's. So I made up my mind after 15 months of being alone that I must ask somebody that I know, and I didn't know Jeanette very well, but she and my late wife grew up together. They were teenagers together for many years. And so I knew of her, and I knew a little bit about her, and I had spoken to her maybe 6 or 8 times before I sent this email. But she was the one person who stood out amongst all the other widows that I knew, and that I thought I could get to know very nicely. So we did that, and we met several times, 6 or 8 times, and then decided that we go away together for a week. And well, we fell in love, and we've had a wonderful life in the last 2-3 years, and she's made this possible. So we can all thank her for for taking this enormous risk with this idiot. All right. Anyway, any other questions? Yes. Yes, I drive everybody crazy. Yes, I drive a car as well. Yes. Sorry. Yes, sir.
You mentioned that you had a foot injury.
Yes.
And you were unable to walk for 5.5 months.
That's right.
So during that time, did your symptoms come back?
Yes, they did.
Did you start taking Parkinson medication?
No, I didn't. No, I'm so determined not to take medication. There's no medication on the market, including MAOB inhibitors, that has any effect on the progression of your Parkinson's. So if you can do without it, isn't it better to do without the side effects and muddle along? Now knowing this about walking, and I can assure you, as you saw, those people were able to walk. And if they started to do exercise, I know they're going to start getting better. And the faster they walk, the better they will get. So that is the best path. Medication has no end, there's no ultimate. You are continuing to go down at the same speed whether you take it or not. So why take it? I know the doctors say, you can't tell people that. It's your choice. It's not their choice. It's not my choice. It's your choice. If you can do without it, do with it. If you can't do without it, it's stupid to go without it. But try and get one to take over from the other. If you start the fast walking and you feel it yourself getting better, you should, in theory, need less medication. Does it make sense? Therefore, start taking less medication. Don't go off the medication. If you're taking, we'll say, 8 Cinemat a day, start taking 7.5 Cinemat a day for a week, and then 7 for a week, and then 6.5 for a week, until you get to the point where you know that you need that half that you've just come off of. Does that make sense? Now, doctors don't like me telling you that. I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving you advice. I'm telling you how you can go about reducing medication if you are getting better because you're doing the walking. Of that I do know. Okay. Right. Yes, sir.
John, this is a wonderful talk you've given today. And we found out about you by
The police?
No, it was one of the organizations, a newsletter popped up.
Okay.
And I was wondering which organizations you are working with here in California, and if you, what your schedule is, how long you're going to be in the United States. If there's anyone in the audience here that knows of any connections that they could share with you to give you even more contact, that would be a good idea.
Thank you, yes. Well, if you go to my website, you'll see my email address. You're very free to ask me questions. As I say, Hannah has been talking to me for 2-3 years. And we've swapped quite a few stories and so forth. And whatever I can do to help you, I don't charge you for it. If I can't answer it, I will tell you. I won't just tell you a load of rubbish. I'm here for another 6 days. We're doing talks today, this afternoon, 2 talks tomorrow. Then there's another talk on Saturday.
Well, one Saturday for the public and one for professionals.
Not here.
Yeah, at San Rafael.
At San Rafael, okay.
There are 2 talks tomorrow in Burlingame.
Yes, in Birmingham, yes. I am, yes. Oh. But they won't let me talk there, so I've got to do it privately. Right. Right, if there's no other questions, I know there are things I wanted to tell you and I've forgotten to tell you, but whatever it is, you're going to have to ask me. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.